Every morning, the world presents two choices: continue living by default or rise with purpose. Most people let the day rule them, but a few, the uncommon few, rise and rule the day. They feed their mind, fuel their spirit, and align their energy with one powerful belief: I was not born to be average, I was born to lead my own life. This message is your daily wake-up call, not just to motivate, but to transform. Watch this every day, and you won't just change how you think, you'll change who you are. There comes a moment in every life where the path ahead demands a choice. A moment where drifting is no longer an option, and silence becomes a decision in itself. That moment is when everything changes, not because the world changes, but because you do. You must decide. Not casually, not one foot in, one foot out, but with total commitment, as if your life depends on it, because it does. This kind of decision isn't just a thought you entertain while lying in bed at night. It's not a fleeting emotion after hearing an inspiring speech or reading a powerful quote. No, this decision cuts deeper than that. It's born out of frustration so intense that your soul cries out for transformation. It's that quiet rage inside you that says, I will not die with my potential buried in me. That's where greatness begins, not in comfort, but in defiance. Defiance of limitation, defiance of excuses, defiance of fear. You see, every person who has carved their name into the pages of history began by reaching this boiling point. Oprah stood in poverty and decided it would not define her future. She didn't know how, but she decided. Elon Musk looked at the future and refused to wait for someone else to build it. He didn't ask for permission, he decided. These decisions weren't made in ideal conditions. They were made under pressure, in uncertainty, with doubt circling their every step. But the decision itself was final. The tragedy is that most people never make such a decision. They wait. They hesitate. They let life sweep them up like leaves in the wind, going wherever the current takes them. They become what others expect. They settle. Not because they lack ability, but because they never made a firm decision to take control. And so life decides for them. And life never chooses greatness by default. Life chooses average. Life chooses safe. Life chooses regret. If you don't choose who you want to become, you surrender that power to circumstance. The job chooses you. The environment shapes you. The opinions of others form your identity. And one day, you wake up wondering how your life became something you never dreamed of. And yet, you built it, day by day, by not choosing. Decide today, not tomorrow. Not after everything is perfect. Decide now, even if you're afraid, even if you don't have the answers, even if the road ahead is dark. Because once you decide, the universe bends to meet you. Resources appear, people show up. Strength you never knew you had begins to rise within you. That's the power of decision. It is the birthplace of destiny, and nothing, absolutely nothing can nigh. Stop the one who has truly decided. Every human being is like a seed, full of untapped potential, strength, and brilliance waiting to burst forth. But no seed can flourish in barren soil. The environment that surrounds you, what you hear, what you see, who you talk to, and what you feed your mind, is either nurturing your growth or poisoning your promise. This truth cannot be ignored. You may have the fiercest determination in the world, but if you place yourself in toxic surroundings, that fire will slowly dim, and eventually, it will die. You cannot rise while anchored to mediocrity. It is not enough to simply want success. You must build a life around it. Look closely at the people in your circle. Do they inspire you, challenge you, call you to a higher standard? Or do they drain your energy, ridicule your ambition, and celebrate staying comfortable? A man who dreams of greatness cannot keep the company of those content with average and expect to thrive. That's like trying to climb a mountain while carrying people who refuse to walk. Sooner or later, their weight becomes your excuse. Think about your daily habits. From the moment you wake up, what do you expose yourself to? Are your mornings filled with noise, gossip, and distraction? Or are they filled with learning, reflection, and forward motion? One man, whose life was spiraling in anxiety and failure, made a single powerful decision. He deleted the apps that were robbing him of his time, attention, and peace. He stopped feeding his mind junk and replaced it with nourishing content, books that elevated his thinking, podcasts that lit a fire in his soul, reminders of what he was chasing, not what he was escaping. It didn't happen overnight, but his life began to change. Not because of luck or a miracle, but because the roots of his character were finally planted in soil that gave life. In less than a year, his income multiplied, not because money fell from the sky, but because his clarity, focus, and mindset became razor sharp. His anxiety faded because his life began to reflect alignment. He stopped living at war with his surroundings and instead built an environment that cheered for his purpose. This is not about perfection. It's about direction. Every step you take to shape your surroundings with intention, every positive voice you welcome in, every negative influence you remove, every book, every choice, every routine, builds the atmosphere where your future self can breathe, thrive, and win. The man or woman who understands this doesn't just chase success. They become it because they've created the environment where success becomes inevitable. So, ask yourself honestly, is the world around you feeding your growth or starving your dreams? Your answer may be the reason you're stuck or the beginning of your breakthrough. Desire without discipline is like a car with no engine. It looks like it's ready to move, but it's going nowhere. Everyone dreams. Everyone wants something more, but only a few are willing to walk the road that turns dreams into results. And that road is paved with discipline. It is not glamorous. It is not easy. It demands more than motivation. It demands mastery over self. Because every goal worth achieving comes with a price, and discipline is the currency you must pay. Discipline is not a restriction. It's not a cage. It's not a punishment. It is a liberation, a quiet kind of power that whispers every morning, "You're in control." Discipline gives you the dignity of keeping your word to yourself, even when no one is watching. It allows you to do the hard thing, the right thing, the necessary thing, again and again, until success is no longer a question of if, but when. It's easy to act on the days you feel inspired. But greatness is not born in moments of inspiration. It's built in the trenches of consistency. It's choosing the gym over the snooze button. It's picking up the book instead of the phone. It's sitting down to work while others chase distractions. These tiny decisions seem small in the moment, but they are the bricks that build the bridge to everything you say you want. There is a reason top athletes train in the dark before the world wakes. Why CEOs rise before sunrise. Why the elite push their limits when no one is watching. Because they understand what most people ignore. Success is not about what you feel like doing. It's about what you do, regardless of how you feel. Discipline is not emotional. It is commitment in motion. In a world that worships comfort and distraction, discipline is rebellion. And those who cultivate it don't just get ahead, they lead. The undisciplined are slaves to their moods. They chase convenience and wonder why they remain stuck. But the disciplined man or woman becomes unstoppable, not because they are stronger or smarter, but because they simply refuse to break the promises they make to themselves. And make no mistake, discipline is not born. It is built. It is a muscle. And every time you choose action over excuse, every time you rise when it would be easier to rest, you strengthen it. Over time, what once required effort becomes automatic. What once felt like sacrifice becomes your standard. That's when you know transformation has begun. So when the alarm rings early, when the temptation is strong, when the doubt creeps in, remember this: desire is only the spark. Discipline is the fire. And if you feed that fire daily, relentlessly, with focus and effort, it will carry you across any gap, over any obstacle, and into the life that only the disciplined ever reach. The words you whisper to yourself hold more power than the shouts of the world around you. Your mind listens closely, not with logic but with obedience. It does not question your commands, it follows them. And what you feed it daily becomes the script it plays out in your life. If you consistently plant seeds of doubt, you grow a harvest of hesitation. But if you feed your thoughts with courage, strength, and belief, your life begins to rise in the direction of that inner dialogue. Most people don't fail because they lack potential. They fail because they've trained their minds to believe they are powerless. They speak defeat before the battle even begins. They say, "I can't," and their mind responds, "Understood," and shuts the door. But the mind, when spoken to with conviction, has a remarkable ability to unlock doors you didn't even know existed. When you say, "I will find a way," your mind begins scanning your world for opportunities, hidden strength, and untapped courage. It believes you, not because it knows what's true, but because it trusts what's repeated. You've heard it said that thoughts become things, and there is truth in that. Repetition builds belief, and belief shapes behavior. Behavior creates results. It all begins with what you feed your mind when no one is watching. The quiet hours, the silent struggles. The moments when you're faced with fear, fatigue, or failure. These are the proving grounds of self-talk. What do you say to yourself in those moments? Do you curse your limits, or do you challenge them? There is a reason the most elite warriors and achievers train their minds even harder than they train their bodies. The Navy SEALs have a principle known as the 40% rule. When your mind screams that you're finished, that you've got nothing left, you're really only 40% done. That means there is a reservoir of untapped potential within you, a strength buried beneath your self-imposed limits. But you'll never reach that power if you talk yourself out of the fight before you even begin. Every single day is a chance to program your mind with purpose. To replace the voice of fear with the voice of faith. To look in the mirror and say, "I am capable, I am relentless, I am enough." And then act in alignment with those words. Because affirmations without action are empty. But when belief and behavior move together, mountains begin to shift. Your mind is not your enemy, it is your tool. But like any powerful tool, it must be directed. Speak life into it. Speak power into it. Speak truth into it until that truth becomes the foundation you stand on, because the world will try to tell you what you are. The question is, will you believe them, or will you believe the voice within that dares to say, "I was born for more"? Transformation is not born in sudden bursts of inspiration. It is forged in the quiet repetition of deliberate action. The world is full of people with grand dreams, visions of health, success, love, and purpose. But dreams, no matter how beautiful, are only shadows without consistent movement. The bridge between who you are and who you want to become is not built in a single day. It is built one step at a time, through action repeated with intention, discipline, and unwavering faith. The most powerful truth in personal growth is this: it doesn't matter how you feel, it matters what you do. Feelings are fleeting, motivation is unreliable. One day it lifts you like the wind, the next day it vanishes like mist. But action, real, steady action, is the great equalizer. It is what separates the talkers from the doers, the wishers from the winners, the dreamers from the builders. If you can act when it's hard, when you're tired, when no one is clapping and no one is watching, that's when transformation truly begins. There's a story of a woman who sat across from her doctor with fear in her chest and a warning ringing in her ears. Change your lifestyle or face the consequences. Her heart was failing. Her body was breaking down, but she didn't wait for a jolt of motivation or the perfect plan. She started walking, just 1,000 steps the first day. Her legs ached, her breath was short, but she showed up the next day, and the next, and the one after that. 10 weeks later, she wasn't just walking, she was running. A year later, her heart was strong, her life transformed, and her spirit alive in a way it had never been before. What changed her life wasn't a miracle, it was consistency. It was the decision to act every single day, even when it didn't feel like it was working. She didn't chase results, she committed to the process. That's the hidden secret most people miss. Results don't come to those who wait. They come to those who work, who show up when they're tired, who try again after failure, who rise even when it hurts. Transformation doesn't require perfection. It requires persistence. 1 page read each night becomes a book finished. $1 saved becomes a fortune. 1 honest conversation each day can heal a broken relationship. The small things, repeated daily, become the big things over time. So when you feel like quitting, remember, feelings lie, but actions, over time, always tell the truth. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait to feel strong. Just take the next step, and then the next. Because the results you're searching for don't come from wishing. They come from working, from showing up consistently until your life begins to reflect the effort you've poured into it. That is the true path of transformation. Every word you just heard isn't just motivation. It's a mirror, a reflection of who you could be. If you decide, adjust your environment, build discipline, speak life into your mind, and act consistently. Watch this every day, and soon you won't need reminders, because you'll become the reminder. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs more people of quiet, relentless, unstoppable action. That person is already inside you. Let this message remind you every single day.